G'day guys, Luke here. Welcome back to another video. In today's video guys, we are doing the 1000 subscriber special. It's basically the pilot episode of the Species Spotlight series. And on today we are doing my favourite animal, which is the saltwater crocodile. Let's jump into it and let's talk about my favourite animal. The saltwater crocodile, also known as salties, the scientific name is Crocodilus porosus. We've also got a couple other names as estuarine, South Pacific, Indonesian crocodiles. There is a few more, but I won't bother with that. They are highly aggressive and territorial, so anything new to their territory or something that poses as a threat, they will challenge and fight that threat and see if they can take it out or basically get on top of it to basically assert dominance. The anatomy of a saltwater crocodile, their colour can range from their greys to browns to blacks to a sandy yellow. They have about 66 teeth. Now, with their teeth, guys, they actually shed them. It's very similar to a shark. So with a crocodile, there'll be a set of teeth, and underneath each tooth, there'll be another tooth basically ready to go. So basically a cap. So when one tooth falls off or is lost in a fight or during hunting, that will simply just be instantly replaced with a new tooth, and there's always a new one growing underneath. Usually they have about 2,000 teeth in their lifetime, so they're not going to run out of teeth very, very soon. Now, their eyes, ears, and nose are placed on top of their head, which helps them enable to hunt. So they can submerge their whole body in order to have to expose really is the nose to smell, eyes to see, and hearing. Now, if you went to a museum and looked at a crocodile skull, and you see little like holes in the top of the skull, that's actually sensory organs to help them locate food in the water or by the water's edge. So effectively, they go underneath the water. Anything that's causing vibrations on the bank, it will simply just go to where that vibration is coming from and set up an ambush. Now, their tongue, guys, is actually attached to the bottom jaw. If that tongue wasn't attached and it struck sideways, effectively they can bite off their own tongue. That tongue also helps seal off the throat. That way, when they dive underwater, they don't get lungs full of water. Now, these guys have more closing power than opening power in their mouth. So effectively, they've got 3,000 pounds of bite pressure, but we can simply just close that mouth with a roll of tape. So they have very little muscle with opening power, but a lot of closing power with the muscles they've got for closing their jaws. Now, when you look at a crocodile, guys, you see their back and also pretty much the tail. Basically the plates you see are called osteoderms. Basically, it's bone underneath the skin, which works like armor. That way, it helps them in combat, or if predators trying to attack from above, that will help in defense. And the tail is called scutes. Now, when crocodiles are caught in the wild, they usually cut a few of these scutes off to set numbers on them. So when they bask on a bank from a distance, the wildlife officers can see who it is and see that if there's a problem with crocodile, they have to relocate. Mostly, this helps them identify when they cut certain scutes. So basically, the spines at the back of the tail scutes. Now, saltwater crocodiles have a pretty soft underbelly, so that's pretty much their weakest point. So if anything was to grab them from there, they're in a lot of trouble. Webbed back feet and a strong, powerful tail to help them enable to swim. Now, their design, guys, hasn't changed for 65 million years, and these guys can live up to about 100 years in a captivity anyway. Male saltwater crocodiles can grow between 5 meters to 7 meters in length, so between 16 to 23 feet in length, and can weigh between 200 kilos and up to about over a ton. So in pounds, it's 440 pounds or just over 2,400 pounds. Usually average is about 4.3 to 5 meters in length, so it's about 14 foot to 16 feet in length. It usually weigh just above 400 kilos and to about 770 kilos, or just below 900 pounds to about just over 1,600 pounds. Females are much smaller to their counterparts, which only grow between 2.5 to 3 meters in length, so about 8 to 10 feet, away between 67 kilos and 103 kilos. So pretty relatively light compared to your male counterparts. So in pounds, that's about 168 pounds or 227 pounds. Their saltwater crocodile, guys, were protected in the 1970s. Beforehand, they were often hunted for their skin, meat, and eggs. It still happens somewhat today, but that's under a new regulation where it helps manage a population of crocodiles out in the wild. Speaking of their range, guys, they are found in northern Australia, so North Queensland, Northern Territory, and the most northern part of Western Australia. They're also found in Malaysia, Southeast Asia and India, usually in swamps, rivers, and even the sea. Now, don't get fooled by the name, saltwater crocodile. These guys are also found in fresh water, so be very careful when you're up in these areas and make sure it's safe to swim if you are thinking about it. If you're not too sure, just go to a local pool. When it comes to hunting and diet, these guys are ambush predators, so they will sit and lie and wait for the food to come to them. They can slow down their heartbeat and only feed oxygen to the most vital parts of their body, which enables them to sit there and hold their breath for several hours and wait for the prey to come. Even a 5-meter crocodile can hide in knee-deep water. They can strike at half their body length, so a 5-meter crocodile can strike up to 2.5 meters, which is plenty of room for you to get ambushed effectively. Saying that though, crocodiles prefer easy prey. So if there was, let's say, a dead buffalo by the riverbank or a live kangaroo, they will often go for the easy prey. So they'll go up to this buffalo, start tearing bite-sized chunks by either death rolling or head shaking. So they're not using as much energy to capture their food. A crocodile's diet will consist of insects while they're babies. As they get older, they eat fish, mammals, birds, and other reptiles, including members of their own kind. Their stomachs are roughly the same size as a basketball. They can go without food for almost a whole year, if not over a year. Now, these guys can digest anything but pig's hair. So, effectively, when they're eating a pig, they will cough up a hairball like a cat and basically pass out the rest. Now, these crocodiles do eat stones to help them with their digestion as well. When it comes to reproduction, males will usually hit sexual maturity about 11 feet or 16 years of age. Females, on the other hand, is usually about 7 feet or 13 years of age. Mating occurs usually in September, October, and females will lay their eggs from November to March pretty much every year, or if not, every few years. Now, females can lay up to 60 eggs during the wet season. They often will nest on the highest part of the riverbank and using mud and vegetation to build a nest. Eggs usually take about 80 to 100 days to incubate. Now, temperature can vary the sex. So between 28 to 30 degrees, you get more females. If from 31 to 30 degrees, it'll be more males. Now, once the babies hatch, it'll start calling out for mum, and mum will dig them up and carry them to the river. Sadly, only 1% of a clutch will survive to adulthood. Predators are usually fish, birds, reptiles, and other mammals, and even rats, and also members of the species like I mentioned earlier in the video. Now, when it comes to avoiding attacks, and so unfortunately a few people do get attacked and are killed by crocodiles every year here in Australia. Usually stay out of croc country is what I would recommend, but if you are in crocodile country, do not go swimming in the rivers, lakes, where there could potentially be a crocodile. Always go to the local swimming pool. While camping, if you have to go to the river to get water, go to different points of the river or go at different times, as the crocodiles can predict where you're going to be and as well set up an ambush. So that's how often people do get taken, is to go to the same point of the river every single day. The crocodile will learn that, and unfortunately when the crocodile is ready to attack, that's when most attacks occur. Now, up in northern Australia, there's signs everywhere warning people about crocodiles. Now, if you don't see a sign, that doesn't mean there's a crocodile there. If you're up in northern parts of Australia, be croc aware and always stay out of the water or away from the water's edge. That's where the crocodiles are the most dangerous. If you're away from the water, they're not going to bother going after you. They have relatively short, stubby legs, which cannot really help them run across the land. Now, if you are grabbed by a crocodile, the only things you can do is basically go for the eye, so try and pry or dig your finger into his eyes. That might enable the crocodile to let go, or stick your hand down its throat and it will spit you out because it's taking in the water in its lungs. Or if you have a knife on you, stab between the eyes because that's where the brain is located. Now, when crocodiles are kept in captivity in Australia, you must have a permit in New South Wales. I think they're illegal in the private hands in Victoria. Well, you have to have a license or permit as well in Queensland, Northern Territory, and Western Australia to keep crocodiles. Most oftentimes, zoos or mobile zoos will have crocodiles in their care to use for education. While in a private hand, such as myself, it's pretty much impossible to obtain. So that's it for today's video, guys. I do hope you enjoy it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in another video.